There are many different versions of Mahabharata and Ramayana, right? And there are many stories in. It's the same situation, but in that same situation, there are some differences. In some cases, there are major differences. In some cases, there are minor differences in that same story, and we wonder why there are so many differences. So there's an explanation to this, right? Uh, it's a crazy kind of explanation. So here goes. Now there is a certain form of Vishnu. We call it Karan Udakshay Vishnu. What is Karan Udakshay means? Karan means cause, Odak means ocean, Shai means sleeping, all pervading. So Karan Udakshay Vishnu is a Vishnu who is sleeping in the causal ocean, or who is pervading everywhere, who is omnipresent in the causal ocean. Now, when this Vishnu breathes in and breathes out, he breathes in and breathes out from all of his pores, his entire body, from everywhere. So if you want to have like a visual image of this, it is basically space, and suddenly from space there are probably everywhere there are big bangs. We think there's nothing before the Big Bang. Big Bang is the beginning of everything. But the Purans, they say that this is a Vishnu who is breathing in and out of all of the pores of his body, and every time he breathes out infinite number of universes. This is crazy. And one of that universes, our universe where we live. Now, each of this universe is also called as a Garbh, right? So there is a Garbhodakshay Vishnu also. Garbh means the womb, and in the womb there is the ocean. That means the space within the entire universe. And again, there is a Vishnu who is a projection of this Karanodakshaya Vishnu, who is omnipresent in this universe, and he is sleeping in this universe. And from his navel stems a lotus, and in the lotus sits a Brahma. Our Brahma, the Brahma of our universe, is 100 years. His age is 100 years. Right now he is 50 years old. This is also one very crazy explanation of why Shiv and Vishnu are always young, but Brahma is old. Because he's an old man, he's 50 years. He's going to live for another 50 years. In fact, today is his 51st birthday. So, so there's 360 days in 1 year of Brahma, and 1 day of Brahma is called as a Kalpa. And there are 14 parts in one Kalp. That is, each day of Brahma is divided into 14 parts. One part is called as one Manvantar. And in one Manvantar, there are 71 Yuga cycles. What is a Yuga cycle? Yuga cycle is Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kal Yuga. So this whole cycle of the 4 yugs is one cycle. Like that, there are 71 Yuga cycles in one Manvantar. Now, Kal Yuga is about 4,32,000 years, and double of that is Dwapar, double of that is Treta, double of that is Satyug. So it is a very long period of time. This is one Yuga cycle. There are 71 such Yuga cycles in one Manvantar, and there are 14 Manvantars in just one day, which is one Kalpa of Brahma. Now, it is said that time is cyclical, right? Like what I did today is pretty much what I did yesterday. Like if, let's say, at a certain time of the day you drink tea or coffee, you are habituated to doing that. You will do that same thing again and again. You will repeat the same things. If you are going to office, you will go to the same office every day, same timing, and every day you will come back. And this is how time works. It works in cycles. So, expanding upon this narrative, the creation and the same stories within, like epic stories within the creation, are repeating itself over and over again. And that is why this Mahabharata, this Ramayana, and all of these epic stories, they have already happened, and they will happen. and they haven't happened only once, they have happened multiple times. Now who wrote these stories? Like there are so many people. There is a uh, what, Valmiki Ramayana, like that. There is one more Ramayana of like the one that we know, Tulsidas Ramayana, and there are so many other authors of Ramayana, right? So that, and each of these stories, they are not the exact same. In some Ramayana there is there are some additions, there are some parts which are amended, there are some different stories, and so on. So this narrative is that okay, the same story is repeating over and over again. And when the saints and the sages, they sat in meditation. Now what is meditation? Is it is a state of mind where the thoughts have gone, there are no thoughts. Like generally we are so body conscious, the body keeps time, right? That at a certain time you are hungry, at a certain time you want to sleep, at a certain time, so you are basically a slave of the body. Whatever the body says, when the time is comes and the body starts to crave for those things, then you submit to it and you have to succumb to the needs of the body. But there are some sages who have gone beyond this bodily need, right? They have meditated for years together and they've trained themselves in such a manner that they reach a state where it's as good as they don't have a body. Like they are the masters, complete mastery over their body. For years together they'll sit in meditation and the body is perfectly healthy, because they have reached that, they've trained themselves in such a manner, they've reached a certain level of accomplishment that now the body doesn't really, have any say on their decisions. So when you reach that state of mind, some things you are able to download from the space, right? So whichever story in each kalp, in each of, even in different manvantars, because there are 71 yuga cycles in just one manvantar, there are 70, and that means this thing has happened 71 times, right, in just one manvantar. So like that, 71 into 14 times it has happened in one kalp. So whichever sage saw whichever story and was able to download it from whatever manvantar, that sage wrote it down and it was documented, and that is how there are so many different versions. So one such version is and mostly you see Mahabharat begins from the story of Shantanu, right? And Shantanu's son Bhishma and Bhishma's mother Ganga and all of those things. But if we even go back in time, so there was a sage Vashishta. Vashishta was always called as a Brahmarishi. He was a very accomplished sage. And one day there was a Raja, a king, who later on became Vishwamitra. He was called as a Raja Rishi because he was a king before, and then he, with his penance and with his sadhana, he became a rishi. But he did not get the title of Brahma Rishi, he was a Raja Rishi. So, and in fact, Vashishta is the reason why Vishwamitra gave up his entire empire. He was called Raja Kaushik. So, one day Raja Kaushik went for hunting with his entire army, and they got lost in the forest, and they found a hut. And this was the hut of Vashishta, and they were all thirsty and hungry, and it was a big group of soldiers. And they reached this hut, and Vashishta welcomed them, and he said that, all right, I can see all of you are hungry and thirsty, let me feed you, and you can rest over here for some time. So Raja Kaushik is like, hey dude, no. He's looking at this guy who is living in the middle of nowhere in the forest, and like he's damn sure that this person doesn't have any of the means necessary to feed this entire group. So he says, no, don't feed us. But he feeds the king and his entourage anyways. And Kaushik is very surprised. He's like, how is this guy able to feed us? This, like, I can't see any apparatus, any kitchen or any resources with him. So he finds out that Vashishta has a cow, and this cow is it's a magical cow. This cow is able to grant all of Vashishta's wishes. So now Kaushik says that, hey, look, you are here in the middle of nowhere. There's no use of this cow for you. But I'm a king. I'm running an entire kingdom. So imagine the kind of responsibilities I have. Imagine the kind of people that I have, the number of people that I have to feed. Then why don't you give me the cow? So Vashishta is like, no, 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 I can't give you this cow. So Kaushik is trying to reason with him, and then eventually, when Vashishta says no, so Kaushik says that, hey, look, I'm not giving you an option over here. I'm the emperor. This whole land is mine. I'll decide what happens. So he tries to take this cow by force. So now Vashishta is really angry, and he, with his Yog Maya, he creates an army, and this army defeats Raja Kaushik's entire army and brings him to his knees. And so they bring him in front of Vashishta, and they are waiting for Vashishta's command. So Vashishta says, leave him, like, don't kill him, it's fine. And he explains to Raja Kaushik, he says that, look, this cow is my family member, right? I cannot give away my family member, no. I understand you're a king and you didn't think of any selfish reasons to forcefully take my cow, and this is the reason why I'm letting you go. But bear in mind that don't mess with me and my family. Okay, now leave. So this is a big insult for Raja Kaushik, and he goes back and he decides that my power is nothing compared to the power of yoga and spirituality. So I am going to relinquish this kingdom, and he leaves. And he does a lot of penance, and he has this grudge on Vashishta that I want to beat Vashishta. I want to become bigger than Vashishta. So he becomes Rishi with Vishwamitra, right? Now Vishwamitra and Vashishta, they are two top rishis. Like today, how there is Sadguru and there is Shri Shri Ravi Shankar. So they are top gurus. That they are very what do you say, opulent gurus. Like that, back in that time, these two gurus were very opulent, spiritually very opulent, very powerful gurus. It's just that, just like you see Sadguru and Shri Shri Ravi Shankar. Shri Shri Ravi Shankar, from his childhood, he was inclined towards spirituality, like from a very young age. Whereas Sadguru, he was Jaggi Vasudev. He did many different things. He had like he was an entrepreneur, and then later on he decided to get into spirituality. So you can compare Vishwamitra a little bit to Sadguru, and Vashishta a little bit to Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Guruji. So but Vishwamitra, this is just for a context, just for you to understand how powerful they were back in the day. I'm not implying that they are reincarnations or whatever. So Vishwamitra, back in the day, he had this competitive spirit against Vashishta, that he also wants to get the title of Brahma Rishi. He's not satisfied with Raja Rishi. So this competition was there. Now Vishwamitra, you know the story of Vishwamitra. There from then Indra got jealous and all of that, and he had a daughter Shantanu and Shakuntala, and then they had a son Bharat, and from then there came the Bharat dynasty. So the progeny of Bharat dynasty is Shantanu, is in the lineage of the Bharat dynasty. So you can say that Shantanu comes from Vishwamitra. Okay, this is one family lineage tree, and then Shantanu comes from there. And now Shantanu's wife Ganga, she leaves him, so he's left with Bhishma. Now Bhishma became a very powerful young man, and it's almost time for his coronation. At that time, Shantanu sees a girl. And this girl, we know the story. She is Matsya Gandha. She smells of fish, or not at that time. At that time, she smells very good, right? So the girl who Shantanu marries, and the girl for whom Bhishma takes the Bhishma Pratigya of Brahmacharya, formerly she is Matsya Gandha. Why she is Matsya Gandha? Because she smells like fish. She is the daughter of a fisherman, and she also has a backstory. Uh, but before she marries Shantanu, she meets the son of Vashishta. Now here there is a connection between Vishwamitra and Vashishta. See how this thing connects. So from one side, we know that Bhishma is from the lineage of Vishwamitra, because Bhishma's father is Shantanu, and Shantanu comes from the lineage of King Bharat, and that is the whole family tree. But the other side, the woman, she has consummated her relationship with the son of Vashishta. So one day, son of Vashishta, Parashar Rishi, he is traveling in the forest, and he sees Matsya Gandha, and he calculates. According to his calculation, he realizes, and intuitively also he realizes, that okay, if we consummate right now, then the child who will be born, that child will be spiritually very opulent. So he approaches Matsya Gandha and he says that look, this is the thing, so we must consummate now. And so she says, all right, I'll do that, no problem. But I have two conditions. One is my stink should go away. I should smell very nice. So he says, cool, done. And second is I should be virgin back again. So he says, cool, done, no problem. He's a accomplished sage, and they consummate. And there, right there, Vyas Muni is born. And Vyas Muni immediately grows up, and he goes into the jungle to do his penance. Right? He goes into the forest to do his penance. Now, think about it. So that means Vyas Muni is from the lineage of Vashishta. Huh? And Bhishma is from the lineage of Vishwamitra. So again, the progenies of Vishwamitra and Vashishta come together. And when this Matsyagandha, former Matsyagandha, she marries Shantanu, and they have children, Vichitra Virya, Vichitra Sen, all of that. And the condition is that Bhishma should not become king. So and his children should not get the throne. So that's why Bhishma takes the Bhishma Pratigya of Ajanma Brahmacharya, so that I'm not going to marry. He takes it for this woman. And when this woman's children die, and there is no grandchildren, like Vichitra Virya dies, they all die in a war, and they have their wives Amba, Ambika, Ambalika. They have these wives, and these wives have not borne any children of Vichitra Virya and Vichitra Sen. So, if you think about it, what is the point of this Bhishma Pratigya? That is not required anymore. So, Matsyagandha, she tells Bhishma that your Pratigya is not required anymore. You can consummate with my daughter-in-laws. So he says, no, I have given my word. Now it's Bhishma Pratigya. It doesn't matter now. It's not circumstantial. My word is my word. That's it. I said it. It's done. So she's like, okay, now who to call? So then she calls Vyas Muni, who is her son, because her son, when he's born, he says that, all right, mom, I'm going for my penance. If you need me for anything, just remember me. I'll be there immediately. And that's how Vyas Muni comes. So when you think about it, Vyas, the Pandu and Dhritarashtra and Vidur, who are born to Vyas, who are fathered by Vyas Muni, they are from the lineage of Vashishta. You see how this rivalry between Vishwamitra and Vashishta it becomes a family. So finally, their grandchildren, their whole lineage, they eventually come together. This is a interesting story of how Mahabharat connects to Vyas, to Vashishta and Vishwamitra. We'll do more episodes on Mahabharata. There are beautiful stories in Mahabharata. This is just interesting. This is just an interesting piece of story I thought must share. Signing off. Have a great day.